You ready to go?
Yeah, Mr. Snow, you are all set. Have a good meeting.
Great, thank you, sir. Okay, welcome to February 2nd's meeting of Scituate Conservation Commission. Before I get started, just read a couple quick things. This meeting is being held virtual as an alternate means of public access pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, temporarily amending certain provisions of the open meeting law. You're hereby advised that this meeting and all communications during this meeting may be recorded by the town of Scituate in accordance with the open meeting law. And then the statement is the Scituate Conservation Commission is committed to providing an environment of respect during our meetings. We ask all members to interact in a polite manner, even when there's disagreement. We value the participation of our community and want all participants, including marginalized and minoritized communities, to feel welcome and respected. And we ask our committee members and all who participate to commit to these standards and to support and respect our community. Okay, those said, we have an agenda for the evening. Do we have any amendments or additions to the meeting, to the agenda rather?
Didn't you want to add something on, Frank?
Well, if we have a few minutes, which looks like we might, this looks like a pretty light agenda, we'd like to maybe talk about just some goals and objectives of the commission, maybe talk about a few questions that folks might have. And I was even thinking, depending on how late we want to discuss this, but we've been talking about the skirting around homes and the height, the clearance or whatever. So I just didn't know if maybe we'd take a couple of minutes to get a few members' feeling on how that might want to run.
Yeah,
So,
Frank, I think I like that idea. I know we talked about it last week or last meeting, and I think if we have time, I think it's something that we could definitely continue the conversation. And I think it makes sense.
Okay. And then there's just a couple little open space items that wouldn't take very long at all. So what I say, projects, maybe skirting,
Yeah.
and some open space things. Jen, is there anything else?
Maybe at an upcoming meeting, talking about roles and liaisons,
Okay.
just to have people thinking about that.
Okay. All right, well, let's go. We'll jump to those at the end. There's some continuances, and then we have a couple of smaller projects. So let's see if we can do those first. And we can
Okay.
go from there.
I'll make a motion to accept the agenda with the add-ons Frank just mentioned.
Okay, that's a motion from Penny. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
From Eric?
Yes.
All in favor, Roger? And Frank?
Yes. Yep. Roger, yes.
Okay.
And Robbie has joined us also.
Okay, and Robbie.
Yes.
Okay. So the first order of business is 21 Central Ave, and the applicants requested a continuation to when, Jen?
March 30th.
Okay. Want to make
So
a
I'll
motion
make a
for that?
motion. I'll make a motion to continue 21 Central Ave, 7 Marshfield Ave to March 30th.
That's from Penny. A second.
I'll second.
From Eric. All in favor, Roger?
Yes.
Robbie?
Yes.
And Frank, yes. Great, thank you. All right, next one is 28 Hadley Road. On February 2nd, 2026 at 6 p.m., the Scituate Conservation Commission will hold a wetlands hearing under Chapter 131, Section 40 of the Massachusetts General Laws, and Section 30700 Town of Scituate Code of Bylaws for a notice of intent filed by Jonathan Ritchie for the construction of an addition to a single-family dwelling within buffer to the resource areas located at 28 Hadley Road, Scituate. Abutters and other interested parties are invited to attend. Information to access the meeting is available, posted on the agenda on the town website. Jen, who do we have for?
Rick from Stenbeck and Taylor. Yes.
Hi, good evening, everyone. This is Rick Savant with Stenbeck and Taylor. How are you doing?
Great. Good evening, Rick.
Good evening. Yes, as you stated, we have a project here at 28 Hatherley Road. That's at the corner of Brooklyn Road. The homeowners are hoping to put on a small addition onto the home off to the right side the existing kind of developed yard area. There is a BVW on the property to the rear, which is owned by the town. It's a vacant lot. The wetlands were flagged by Brad Holmes from ECR, and we've located them as shown on the plan. We are certainly within the 100-foot buffer. The project is. We're outside the 50, and the closest point of the proposed addition is 61 feet off of that wetland. It's a generally flat lot. Again, it's in the developed part of the lot. But we do have erosion control wrapping around the proposed work, and we're just here to kind of review this with you, and I'll do my best to answer any questions you might have on this project.
Okay. Jen?
Yes, we did not have any comments from DEP. They are also proposing to remove a patio that's just behind it. With the plan as it's proposed, it doesn't trigger stormwater. Those are all the comments I have for now.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for pointing that out, Jen. Yeah, that patio is to be removed. There's also a spa at the rear of the house. It's right behind the house. It's also going to be removed as part of this project.
Okay. Eric? What do you want to go first on this one?
Sure, Frank. Thank you. So Rick, the one thing I'm just wondering for any proposed excavation work, is there going to be any storage of materials on site? And if so, do you guys have a location for sort of a staging area for that material?
There'll certainly be some short-term stockpiling, Eric. I agree. I think that should take place in the front of the lot, and we can specify that on the plan. But some short-term storage just during excavation prior to backfill. But yeah, there will be some excess material for that addition coming out that will have to be trucked off site.
Understood. Thank you. And then I assume that the tree that is within the proposed addition will be removed.
That's correct.
And if you and the applicant might be amenable to replacing in kind with a native species of tree somewhere else on site.
We absolutely are open to that, for sure.
All right, that's all I have for now, Frank. Thank you.
Okay. Roger?
No questions. I'm reading the plan so I can see you guys have the driveway. It's a gravel driveway right now, correct?
Yes.
Okay. No questions.
Frank, Brendan has also joined us. And you're also muted, maybe. Nope. No, can't hear you.
Ms. Smith, who are we struggling with?
Frank, we were able to hear him. He's not muted, but his
Hmm.
mic is not picking him up. It sounds like he can hear us though.
He was glitching a little bit at the beginning. That could be a little issue right there.
Um, I can send him a phone number to call in.
Meantime, do we want to see if Robbie has any comments?
Sure. I guess Frank can hear, so. Um, a couple of questions. Plans look good. The ADU parking, is that on grass?
Yes, it's just gonna be a kind of a natural parking spot just because they're up for the stormwater wise, they're right up against with impervious coverage, so it's kind of a, yeah, this is an ADU for the daughter. And probably theoretically room in the driveway, but we had to show separate parking for the ADU. So yes, it's just grass, dirt and grass.
But is it realistic? Is that dirt and grass going to be needed for a regular parking space? If
Well,
somebody's going to park there daily on the grass, grass probably isn't the appropriate material.
um, well, again, I think there's only one car with the actual house, but the single family requires the two spots in the driveway. And yeah, we just showed that one facing the ADU. It's just a natural surface they could park on if unless you'd like to see some other surface there.
I mean, uh, maybe you can
It's
adjust it.
gravel. I mean, it's pretty gravelly and sparsely lawn. It's not a golf course by any means, but it is just a yeah, dirt and gravel area there. Yes.
I mean, and not so much my preference, but functionality of the project, right? If they need to park a car somewhere daily, it probably shouldn't be on the grass, right? It should be in the driveway, or the driveway should be enlarged, or just
I think
doesn't seem practically speaking like it would work very well.
I understand. I think in all practicality, they will be parking in the driveway. There's only
Hmm.
one vehicle with the house, and the second would be for the daughter and the ADU, so they probably will just be utilizing the driveway.
Hmm.
Um, but
Okay.
talking with the homeowners, that seemed like, how they might use it or where the most logical place for the parking for that to be. Uh, was just out of the driveway so other cars could get in and out. But I think most times they will just be parking in the driveway to
Okay.
access the ADU.
Is anything proposed for the shed as part of this?
No, that's proposed just to remain as it's shown. As Jen stated, there is a patio area that's
Hmm.
um, being removed as part of the project, but the shed itself is going to remain. Well, they're hoping to anyway.
Okay. And then, are you the architect on this, or
No, I'm with Stenbeck and Taylor. I'm a professional land surveyor and prepared the plan that we're looking at.
understood? Is the architect on the call?
I'm not sure. It would be Carly from Rockwood Design. I can't see others who are attending, but
My
possibly.
concern
No, I
was
don't see her on it.
I have some knowledge of it.
it looks like, and you can convey this to her, I guess. It looks like the addition is offset slightly to the rear of the existing structure to kind of break up the massing, perhaps.
Mm.
I'm wondering if, the addition is set back from the street by, I don't know, 4 or 5 feet. So to break up the massing, so is it uncommon? Like, would it be possible to take that addition and move it 5 feet in front of the existing structure such that you're moving it further away from the wetlands?
Well, I'd certainly run it by them. We wouldn't be able to go 5 feet in front of the structure, close,
Mhm.
but we're right up against that 30-foot setback there. But I understand
Yeah.
layout wise, I think there's a hallway and a passageway between at the rear of the house where that back portion of the addition is, that 19 by 8.7. I think is a pass through there. I do have the architectural plans, but
Mhm.
I wouldn't want to comment too much about that as far as how the design
Understood.
was and how it fits the existing house. I know they spent a lot of time with the homeowner with this layout and design for sure.
Mhm. Mhm. And then I guess there's new gas and new water as part of it as well.
I think they're going to utilize the existing services that are in the house.
Okay. All right, no other questions for me. Thank you. Appreciate the time.
Jen, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, great. I'm doing voice with my phone and I'm looking at the screen for the plan. So, whatever. Where are we at with members?
You have
Um,
me and Brendan to,
Okay. Penny?
yeah. Um, on the plan here, it says gravel in paved driveway. Which is it, or where is the paved gonna be?
Okay, so there isn't any proposed work. The aprons, the existing aprons to the driveway out at pavement on Hadley Road are
Yeah,
paved, and the rest of it is gravel and will remain that way.
okay, that's good. Um, I think that was my only concern, other than, yeah, we would like that tree replaced. Thank you, Frank.
Thank you, Penny. Brendan?
Yes, thank you, Frank. Yeah, I don't have any additional questions. Just I agree with everyone on the tree. That's all.
Okay. All right. I did get bits and pieces of a couple of things. Are we is there any additional comment for anybody? We have anybody in the audience?
Like somebody raised their hand.
Yes, we have a Mr. Ricky. I can go ahead and make him unmuted. One moment.
Right. Hello? Hi, it's Jonathan
Good
Ritchie.
evening.
How are you?
Good. How are you this evening?
Just want to thank everybody. Thanks, Jen. And my daughter, Leah, who's a nurse practitioner, will be very grateful. And we're planning that we I don't know if you see anybody's seen the house, but it's a lovely house, and I plan to keep it that way. And so I appreciate your time this evening.
Thank you. Is there any, I did miss a little bit of the comments. Do we need to do any other, we need any other information or where are we?
I think the only thing was the tree, Frank, that we want that replaced.
Okay.
Other than that, I don't think anybody had a real problem with the rest of it.
Okay. Do we want to make a motion to close?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to close an issue, Jen, or,
We do have yeah, you can close an issue if you'd like.
okay. I make a motion to close an issue 28 Haverly Road.
I second that motion.
Okay, that was Penny. That was second from Brendan. All in favor, Eric,
Yes.
Roger,
Yes.
Robbie,
No.
okay, and Frank is yes. And I apologize for the kind of hiccups here.
I got my
okay.
issue fixed. Sorry.
This is we're a little bit of a shakedown cruise here with this, but I think we're getting it. Okay, now we want Zero Bossy Lane. Do we have? Is this Morse Engineering?
Yes. And Greg, you should be able to unmute yourself.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, Greg Morse for the record, representing the property owner. This was a notice of intent for a new single-family home. Since the last meeting, there were no revisions to the plan. Your peer review consultant, Lucas Environmental, and the commission offered comments on Brad Holmes's mitigation package. We submitted a revised mitigation package, which incorporated a couple of comments as a result of the last meeting. Those are, we added 12 native trees for tree mitigation on the site. We added a mowing schedule that only 1/3 of the meadow would be mowed in any year, that the leaf clippings and debris would be left on the meadow after it was mowed. And we added a timeline that the mowing would happen between December 1st and April 1st. I believe those were the outstanding comments on the plan, that all other addresses have been satisfied. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you. Jen?
Yes. So that information has been sent out. We had no further comments from peer review. Our conditions would be our standard conditions for mitigation and restoration areas. We would probably include the wetland crossing being constructed first, which I think is the plan, but just make sure that's clear. And if there was any surety that we wanted to collect regarding the mitigation, you can let me know what you think about that.
Okay. Let's see. Eric?
Yeah, no comments on the revised submittal for Brad's report. Appreciate the amendments that were made to that, so thank you. And yeah, generally support Jen's suggestions. That's all I have, Frank. Thank you.
Okay. Penny?
Yes, I didn't quite hear Jen. Jen, did you say that the wetlands crossing will be done first, right? In the orders, it will state that.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to be sure. And so other than that, no, I'm happy with the plan. Thank you.
Okay. Brendan?
Yeah, I have no additional comments. Thank you.
Okay. Robbie?
Thanks, Frank. The amendments to the submittal, those are codified. Are they in the notes on the site plan, or where do those show up?
They are in the write-up about the mitigation plan.
The written narrative that was provided by Environmental Consulting and Restoration. It's a Word document.
Okay. Thank you. No other questions.
All right. Roger?
No, all good. Thank you.
Do we have anybody in the audience?
I don't see any hands
Doesn't seem
raised.
like it. Okay. Did I get to everybody? I think I did. Okay.
I think so.
Take a motion.
Are we gonna close an
motion.
issue, Jen?
Yes.
Okay, I make a motion, we close an issue 0 Bossy Lane.
That's Penny. Go second.
I'll
I'll
second that.
second.
I think Brendan got you. All in favor, Eric,
Yes.
Roger,
Yes.
Robbie,
Yes.
and Frank, yes. Okay, great. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
Is that it?
For the hearings, yes, and then we have administrative items. We do have an
Okay.
order of conditions to vote.
Okay. That's 22 Barry's Landing.
Yes.
Okay.
And
Somebody want to make that? Well, go ahead.
yeah, I just wanted to say to one of the things we included in there was for them to have the ability to plant native plantings by the river, in the buffer, that we would encourage that, and that it's, to allow that with the orders.
Okay. Excuse me.
Can Josh
okay.
put up the agenda?
Oh,
Please.
yes, sorry.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay. So do you want me to make a motion, Frank, on Barry's Landing?
Sure.
I make a motion that we accept the orders as written for 22 Barry's Landing.
That's from Penny. It was second.
I'll second.
That's from Eric. All in favor, Brendan,
Yes.
Roger,
Yes.
Robbie,
Yes.
and Frank, yes. Great. Thank you.
Okay. Can I do the
Um,
minutes next, Frank? Get them out of the way.
That's what you want to do, Penny?
I think it'd be a good idea. I make a
Okay.
motion, we accept the minutes of 12/1 as written and 12/1 executive session minutes as written.
And that's a motion from Penny. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Second from Robbie. All in favor, Brendan,
Yes.
Eric.
Abstain as I was not there.
Okay. Roger
Yes.
and Frank, yes. Okay. Thank you. These certificates of compliance, Jen?
Yes, there's some old projects. The first parish one, it was a septic. 27 and vinyl. I'm good with those. It was one was related to septic, and then the other was an addition. So I'm okay with those.
Okay. You don't need a vote for those, right?
No.
You're just filling us in?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now, 42 Crescent, is there anyone from Grady on for this?
No, there is not. I guess I do want to give you the update that, and I will see if I can get to a plan. But they have proposed some additional mitigation in the form of plantings. For the patio, the extended patio, this is what was approved on the left side. Am I sharing? Are you seeing the screen with the two plans?
Yes.
Okay, and then so this is what they did, and so they're proposing additional plantings to go along with what they've already agreed to, sort of square footage for square footage. I didn't know if we had any feedback for them. I mean, this is, them proposing this after they've done the work, not proposing it before they did the work. So I'm not sure if we're satisfied for that or want to kind of further the conversation, and I can let Grady know that so they can maybe join us at another meeting with some more information.
Jen, can you just clarify, are you saying that the proposed, and see items in green on the right-hand side, they've already done it, or they're proposing to do it?
They are proposing the additional plantings.
Oh, the additional plantings. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Sorry, I just wanted to make sure I heard that right.
So-
Okay.
So I think just if everybody's clear when you look at this, they've got a couple of things. The patio between the house and the revetment was supposed to be a square or rectangular, smaller patio, and had a little bit of a retaining wall in front of it, Jen,
Right.
if I'm looking at that correctly. And instead, they've built a larger patio. So it looks to me, I don't have an overlay on it, but it looks like maybe that retaining wall is also a little closer to the ocean.
Think
And
you're-
then the patio area is bigger, and this also looks like there's an additional patio to the left, a
Correct.
rectangular one. So it's a pretty substantial patio area that's out in front of this house.
So the applicant,
Percentage wise.
sorry.
Go ahead.
So the applicant is proposing the same square footage of plantings as they've exceeded or as they've built without permits?
That's how, yes. Just for the patio. The driveway itself also got larger, but the other issue with the patio is that part of it is within the 50-foot buffer. And when we were reviewing this project initially, we were trying to keep as much as we could out of the 50-foot buffer to the top of the bank.
Thank you. I don't know. I'm not sure that this does it for me.
Frank,
Yes, Penny.
I suggest a minimal of 2-1 on that mitigation planting. Just doing the exact same square footage. This has been a problem project from day one of doing what you want, when you want, then coming back to us. So I am not at all in favor of the skimpy little mitigation they're proposing. Minimal 2-1. That's my thought.
Just so when you look at this, it looks like although they kept this retaining wall right on the 50-foot line. Before there was a little, well, I guess it was about the same. The retaining wall was on the 50-foot line, but the patio to the south was not there at all, and now half of that patio is in the 50.
As
That's
well as
clear to
footings for a
everybody?
deck. There's
Where
an
are those?
overhang deck in that new patio.
Okay. Oh, I see.
Are these images
And
to
there's
the same
footings in-
scale? They don't look like they're the same scale. Like the house on the right looks bigger than the house on the left.
I was clipping them to be next to each other, so it might not be perfect. Um,
Sorry, I thought this was from the applicant.
no, I was just trying to get it on one page to kind of see it together.
But you can see the
Um,
50-foot buffer line, and that buffer line was right on that retaining wall before, and it is again, but the buffer line cut back through the corner. Actually, a corner of the house is in the 50, which we conditioned already. But now they've got a portion of this patio in the 50. And then, so that buffer strip is what they're proposing in lieu of that. And then I guess the driveway, Jen, did that affect the stormwater at all?
Yes, so the additional the changes were reviewed regarding the stormwater, and Meryl got to a point where she, was satisfied that um everything was met.
Okay. I'm sorry, I jumped around a little here. So we heard from Jen, and then there was Penny.
Rob.
Pardon me? I'm not sure who else. Brendan?
Robbie's.
Oh, Robbie, I'm sorry. Did we finish? I'm a little disjointed here.
Yeah,
No,
so
Roger
Robbie,
and
you want
Brendan.
Robbie, you want to finish your comments, or did you?
I guess one option is the plantings that they're describing. I guess another option is what Penny described, and a third is removing the stuff that wasn't installed with the appropriate permits, right? I mean, I'm a little concerned with the precedent, if it's just like build what you want and then come and permit it. I don't know. I might need some more convincing. Those are
Sure.
my only comments.
Okay. Brendan?
So just to make this easy, the question is, do I want them to come and talk to us about this? Because yes, I do. This isn't a rubber stamp situation. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, I can.
Okay. Just thought so.
So you want the applicant to be
Yeah, this is
presenting
this is pretty big. Also, like, did
Right.
the house change? Like, is so to the left is what we proposed, but what we approved,
Yes.
Yes.
and to the right is what was built.
Right. And the driveway changed. There's a concrete pad on the side of the house for the some of the the generator and air conditions, and then the patio in the back.
The driveway changed, yeah. I'd say. And this is the one that had the
retaining wall, Brendan.
that's a stretch.
Well, it is. It's really frustrating to see these things come at us, especially after we had that conversation once at least already on this project.
Yeah, this is not good for me.
Okay. Eric?
I am done with this applicant continuously going out of bounds on what they're supposed to be doing. So my baseline is to start the conversation with the applicant when you see them is tear up the patio that wasn't approved, remove all of the driveway that wasn't approved. And that's where I'm starting the conversation, because they've completely disregarded the process from day one. on this, and I don't like them making a mockery of the process. And frankly, I don't like that it feels like they're just walking over us and coming back later and saying, "Ooh, we're sorry." No, no, I'm pretty upset about this, and I don't find this acceptable. And as Robbie said, like, I don't want to be setting a precedent where we're just receiving after the fact from people and we're just working with them to come to a solution. Like, we've set the tone, as you said, Frank, and they continue to ignore us.
Okay.
For what it's worth, that's what my
Um,
baseline is too, if I might. I just wanted to say that.
say
But
that again.
my baseline is the same as Eric's. I just didn't really know how to say it without sounding really, and not nice. Thank you.
Sure. Well, it's been frustrating for sure. Um, okay, Roger.
I think most of my questions got answered. I do think they need to come. I would like to make sure that when they do, Eric, I agree with you in Brendan that, like, you know, agree to something, then change it. Like, I think we want to make sure that we understand what our capabilities are and what we're going to be really enforcing and how we're going to enforce it. I think it kind of goes back to kind of what we talked about. We want to talk about a little bit more about, like, the skirting and all these things. Like, how do we start to kind of develop a what I'll call a standard, and and stick to that standard, that when you do have deviations from what was agreed to, we have a run of play that we do X, Y, and Z, and it's consistent, because then we can start to enforce those things, or at least get ahead of them before they happen. It seems like this may have been going on for a while, and I look at the deck on the back left when you're looking at the bottom part of that screen, and I'm like, why would you build that unless they just wanted to, right? So I do think we want to make sure, and Jen, this may be something for you to kind of let us know, when this happens, what are our available options? How do we enforce this? And then how do we make sure we work this into future discussions with applicants that come into play?
I think, the correct thing for this applicant would have been for these changes would have been to submit them to Jen, find out if it was a minor modification or if it required an amendment. And then the commission would have had the opportunity to discuss all this prior to it being just constructed. So now the applicant has gone ahead and built the project with these changes, and then just submitting it with some offering some mitigation to do that. And I think I think it was already mapped out. You have the options. You could say, nope, we're not going to issue a certificate of completion. And what's it going to take for that? Is it telling them to just put it back to what was originally approved, or do you want to think about this and say, do we want to see more mitigation? Are there other things that the applicant can do that would better this project or the surroundings around the project? I think it's something to consider, and then decide how you really want to move forward. If we want them to remove that, we're going to do an enforcement. We'll have to keep moving on the enforcement order. Or if we think that there's some opportunity here to get some additional improvements, we think about that. It is frustrating, and go ahead.
No, I was going to ask a clarifying question on that, so please I thought you were done. That's why I jumped in.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I think as we look at this, it's like, hey, what other options do we have, right? Like, do we ask for more mitigation? Do we ask for that? I think that kind of goes back to what do we want as a commission to when this happens, what do we want to do, right? Because do we ask them for more mitigation? Maybe that's the easy path. Do we ask them to pull up what was not approved, right? Like, I mean, to do an enforcement. I don't know what the right answer is, but I do think it's if it, like I just want to make sure that like as I continue to do this, when something happens like this, what do I go to think about this? Because if somebody comes back and just says, "Hey, we can mitigate this. We can ask them to put more of this in, or do this differently, or do that differently," and it seems like we're always being reactive to these things, and I'd like to kind of maybe get a little bit on our toes when stuff like this happens, and just kind of know it's X, Y, and Z versus what kind of mood I'm in today and which way I want to go with it.
Yeah, I think, it's hard to, Jen was on top of this job with some pieces early on. We get calls and we're out there dealing with probably some more frustrating aspects of this job that seemed like those got squared away. And just kind of surprising that things happen on a job. Sometimes the grades don't mesh. Sometimes, the applicant really hadn't understood the plan and wants to do something. But, again, there's that process where they should be coming to us and saying, "Hey, we want to make these changes. How do we go about this?" And obviously, this is one that, and they're not the only one. And we're probably not going to see some of these until they come in with a plan, with an as-built.
Right.
So, yeah, and I agree. It's frustrating, especially on a project where we've kind of already been through this at least once. And again, I just think, as commission, you'd say, "All right, enough's enough," and we're not, just take it out and put it back the way you planned on it, or do we think that there could be some benefit in working with the applicant to get more mitigation or have some other beneficial piece. So maybe have the commission members have a chance to kind of mull it over, and at a future meeting we get the applicant in here to explain that and what additional things, or that they're ready to change, to remove it and go back to the plan. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Makes sense to me.
Okay. All right, Jen, can you convey that?
Sure. Robbie, do you have other comments? I see that
Yeah,
you're. Okay.
thank you. There's an enforcement order in place for the property currently, right?
Yes.
And they're being fined $200 a day or something for non.
We fined them the $200, and we've explained that it can toll. We wanted to hear from them a proposal, so this is their proposal.
So the only fine incurred is $200 today.
To date, correct.
That's why they're not here tonight.
That's right. Well, I didn't highlight it. I wanted us to have a chance to kind of really see this.
Understood. I get it. I thought there was $200 a day, and then I'm wondering.
Yeah, we can. It has been explained that it tolls. Just the what do we call the penalty that was issued was $200, and then the letter explained that that's each day. We wanted to hear from them what their plan was, what their mitigation plan was, which doesn't mean necessarily plantings, just what is it, removing it, whatever it is. And so what they proposed was matching it in a planting area.
So they're no longer being fined.
I don't know. We can we can keep discussing that.
Okay.
It's not resolved.
I think we when you get a response, a couple of things. You know, we've reached out to people before and heard nothing, and that's even more frustrating. And those are the ones I think you were inclined to just have an ongoing fine. And it also depends on where it is. You know, if there's a bulldozer sitting in the middle of a wetland or something like that, you know, your fines might be larger and ongoing. You have a finished project. The applicant needs a certificate of compliance. They have been fined, which seems minimal for the size of the project, but they still don't have a certificate of completion, and that's what they really need. So now's the time to hold this over them to get what we think should be done here. So again, maybe think about that. The applicant, Jen, can convey that information. Maybe they want to submit something else, but the next time we want to have the applicant or their engineer at the meeting. Is
Okay.
that the
Yep.
general? Is that the consensus of everybody? Or does anybody disagree with that?
Not that I
I agree.
disagree, but the applicant will come and we'll tell them that we don't like their proposal, right? So
Yep.
can't we just tell them we don't like their proposal beforehand, before they
I think we should. Yeah, no, I think Jen should tell them, give them the feedback from this meeting, and then let them prepare something else and come back, or we pick it. What are we? You know, if you commission members feel like, nope, we don't like this at all, and we just want it to go back to what it was, or do we think that there's additional mitigation or some other proposal that they could make?
I understand what you're saying, Frank, I do. But it's like it's not like a bulldozer in the wetland where you can just haul it out in 4 hours time or in a day, or missing grades when they're doing the site grading. I mean, it looks pretty intentional. Like they intended to do this without the permits. It's not a great situation. I don't know.
Have they
Well,
paid
I'm
the $200?
Yes.
I mean, do we start to enforce this? Like I think you said, we have the ability to enforce a daily fine. Well, I mean, do we take that approach? Come in, tell them what the organization wants. You presented this, we approved this. You have X days to begin the work. And at which point, if it's not begun, we're going to start to impose a fine. Now, knowing these folks, though, I mean, I don't know them at all, but if they've just done this, you know, they'll just ignore it, and then it'll build up and whatnot. I'm not sure what our options are at that point, but I do think we could hear them out and why they did it, but it doesn't seem like there's going to be a valid reason, because I think if they took the time to present the original plan, they had a vision. And to the point, Frank, you made, if they were going to make changes, they should have come proactively on this one. It was a blatant.
Who is the engineer on this? Who did this?
think this is
Grady
Grady on
Engineering
this
did the
one.
site plan.
Okay. So they should know that they have to come to us.
Frank,
Yes, Penny.
I'm just curious. Could I make a motion to have everything removed that wasn't gone by us before and leave it at that? if that's how the board feels.
You could.
Well,
I mean,
then
I don't know about the drive. I'm not
What?
sure about the driveway. If that's the driveway's in our is total. I mean, it's for stormwater, but I think is it out of the 100? I can't remember.
It's mostly out of the 100. I mean, there was some, there was additional driveway hard surface put in the 100.
And Frank, I think I was saying what I said regarding the driveway to maybe start the conversation at that point to really drive home the point that we are serious about this. I mean, it's unfortunate that we have to have this position at all, of course. I mean, we don't want to be in a position as a commission to have to be discussing things on these terms with any applicant. But I think it's just important that they understand that, yeah, we're pretty serious about this, especially given that we've already had conversations about what the process is when they change in the middle of a project, as they've already done. But you know, you're probably right. I mean, most of the driveway is out of the 100.
Well, I guess back to Penny's question, can we or do we want to tell them to remove it? I guess you could start there. I don't think that's just gonna happen, but
then we could start fining them. I mean,
It'll get
this
their
has gone
attention.
on for years, Frank.
It may get their attention, and to Penny's point, it gives them something that they need to respond to versus come here and say, "Oh, I'm sorry."
all right.
Well, I can put some language together.
Okay. So do you want to just postpone this for right now and let Jen put some more thought into that, or do you actually want to take a vote tonight to tell them to remove it?
I want to take a vote now, but I don't know about the rest.
I'm not sure I do right now. I'd like to maybe discuss pursuing additional fines. I don't know how definitive a vote is. Like, I don't know what impact that has, to be honest. Like, but I know we have the enforcement order in place to continue to fine the applicant. Is that correct?
You could. Yeah, I think something else to remember, though, is, and Jen, you can correct me if I'm wrong, the fines, if people pay fines, they typically go into the general fund. Am I right?
Yes.
Correct.
We don't see
So
it.
another way to think about this is if there's an opportunity for additional mitigation, or there's other things that could be done that would be beneficial for the commission. When we did Toll Brothers projects, they had some issues where there was storms, and they didn't have all the erosion control, or they didn't control all the siltation running off the site and whatnot. And we could have just fined them, but instead we came up with sort of a value of what we thought that did for damage, and then they funded some additional work that the commission was doing. So, I mean, there's a few different ways that you might take a look at doing this. Or, that's a little different circumstance, because that's something that, it's a storm. They mismanaged the project, so that it was a different scenario than building something. like that. But there's a few different ways to look at this. And
So what you're
figure out
saying, Frank,
what. Go ahead.
just funding something else, for example, just pulling a number, say we go to them and say we want mitigation for a project off-site valued at $5,000 for mitigation for site X to achieve Y. For example, they're right near Peggotty. Maybe it's $5,000 worth of beach grass installation for the dune. I'm picking something that I, just at randomly. But is that sort of what you're referring to when you say to support another? Okay, cool.
Yeah. In addition to, I think that they've made some encroachment on the wetlands, so I don't think I definitely think they should be adding more mitigation on this site. But if we feel that this is egregious, you can get into a lot of back and forth. Go ahead.
Yeah, I guess my question on this is like, I see where you're going with it, but is that then creating a precedent where people will continue to do if you know what, if I just need to plant some grass over here, or I don't know, and I guess I'm with Robbie. Like what, like I think we have to think about this. I agree, probably not voting on it today, but like I'm trying to figure out what do we want to do, and is it just just by being like, okay, well, we want you to do five. And Eric, I'm just using this because that was the example. But like by doing that, people will be like, well, hey, yeah, if we build this and they come after us, we know they need a parking lot built over on XYZ, land. Maybe we can kind of pay for the gravel, and then they get exactly what they want. They skirted the process. They skirted, and people will pick up on that, right? And so I'm just trying to figure out, how do we not make it easy for someone to just write a check to avoid accountability?
And that's part of the discussion. I don't disagree with you. I mean, we just weigh these things out and say, what at the end of the day, what do we think is the best way to move forward for now and for future projects? If you say, hey, we told you to do this, you didn't do it, so rip the thing out, start over, whatever.
I think, Frank, I don't think it's like we told you. You agreed to this. They
did.
Yeah, right. They agreed. You didn't do it, so now remove it. Like it's.
Yep. Can we got a couple of things we wanted to talk about tonight and hopefully get done early. Jen, why don't you? I'd propose that Jen can get back to the engineer and give them the flavor of how this meeting went, and maybe the individual members can think about it. We can have discussion with each other, just not in a quorum, and then we can readdress this at another meeting. Does that seem reasonable?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd like to take a few minutes to talk about some of these other things this evening, and I don't want to get this. We should. We don't want to let this die either. But let's everybody can give it a little bit of thought, and whether you want to submit that in some sort of an email, or you want to discuss it, individually. Let's just mull it about, and then we can come back at it. Jen, are you okay with that?
That sounds great.
Okay. All right. So there's no motion here or anything, right? Do we have to ratify that, or are we all set with that, Jen?
We did. We ratified that.
Okay. All right. So why don't we do that for this evening? What else do we have on the agenda? Those are all the pieces. Oh, Border Street parking, yeah.
And we don't need a decision. I just didn't know if you wanted to kind of talk through some of the ideas. So maybe March 2nd we can get more detailed about it.
that'd be great. So if anybody's not familiar, we acquired that land on Border Street from the Blakey family. It was a vote from the town probably 4 years ago now or something. And basically at the field, it's just been mowed a few times and managing some weeds. But the ultimate goal is to have some parking and access to this property. We've been meeting on and off with some various folks that have been involved in this. Jen's not on tonight, but Jen had a great idea of maybe making an interactive trail around the border of the field, which might be done in a couple of parcels. But if we were able to obtain some sort of grant, maybe we could make that trail and parking part of a grant application. But we need to come up with sort of a plan that the commission embraces. And so early on, some of the parking proposed to be more out in the middle of the field, but we really don't want to do that. We'd like to keep the parking off to one side. So there's a ledge outcrop, and the thought was that we could have this access and parking as shown in this plan. And we've been working with Merrill Engineering. Deb Keller's come up with a couple of these. Is there another option, Jen, or is this basically
yes.
the one that we're? So
yeah, here's the other one. There's
go ahead.
3.
Yeah. So part of the concern is with the plan that was the first one that Jen had up is in looking at that, the access out onto Border Street is fairly close to the south. On Border Street is a curve, so you're sort of coming up a hill and around a corner, and whether there'd be enough sight line. You can see the cars in the little dotted line. So the sight line for cars coming in either direction, and vice versa. So you're coming out, you can see a car coming. So then they talked about, well, maybe we need to have, if you want to go to the other plan.
I'm trying. So this is the second one.
This is helpful. Look, actually, go back to that one for a second, if you can.
Yeah, so you can
So
see the whole site.
there's a much larger layout of the whole site, and you can see how Border Street comes up from Scituate headed towards Cohasset, and it makes sort of that sharp turn. And at one point, there was actually parking proposed sort of where the cursor is. It went in there, and that just didn't work out with the wetlands and all that sort of stuff. So that's where we came up with this, putting the parking area in that location. And then the question is that did Paul Scott look at this, didn't he, Jen?
Yes, he did.
And did they feel like that entrance was too close to the curve?
Yes, they had some concerns about it being close to it. Yes.
Paul Scott?
Yes.
Yes. So, obviously we don't want to disturb more of the field or make more of it gravel driveway than we have to.
Hey,
You want to flip
Frank
to another
or
one?
Jen, do you guys know what's the distance between that? If you go back to the other view you just had up, Jen, where the dog legs, the road banks to the right as you're going from Scituate to Cohasset to the parking lot. Do we happen to know what the rough distance is on that?
Oh.
I don't, but if I all I have is this intersection site distance number. So he's got this is at 236 feet from the car to this entrance. So that's not quite to the turn.
So it's not. So it's almost like 100 yards. Am I thinking that right? 200 feet, 200.
Yeah, probably, maybe even just a little more.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, on that, you don't really need to satisfy intersection sight distance. It's stopping sight distance that controls, which is slightly less. I think it's like 175 feet or something like that. I could look it up. I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. That's what he wanted to look into more. This is what the and Merrill Engineering had put on the plan. He wanted to look that number up also. I don't know that I don't know that I have that yet.
Yeah, I'd be fine with stopping site in this case. I'd stamp the plan. You know, this is kind of the area that I work in.
Okay.
Curious why.
So your thoughts on that again, Robbie? Is that
Just that, you know, there's a couple of different site distances. There's intersection site distance, which is more, I guess, driver convenience, you know, having enough time to see a car and pull out and not impact that car. Um, and then there's stopping site distance where it's like, oh my God, there's something in the road. I need to stop right now. And it's the stopping site distance that's the controlling criteria. And if you satisfy stopping site distances, for me, in most cases, I'll stamp the plan. Like, I think, in my opinion. Um, I'm guessing, I don't know why the parking here isn't perpendicular to the border street, maybe because of the grading, but it looks kind of wonky.
Yeah, I'm not sure what
Yeah.
we were kind of working with this
And
with
then
what's
on
there.
that second one with the long driveway, I'm not a fan of that. It just, I think you don't get much benefit for doing all that work. And that corner, you're gonna have to take that right turn, you're gonna have to slow down to like 2 miles an hour. I just personally am not a fan of the second one.
Yeah, this one came about because there happens to be a break in the rock wall on the road, so they were working with
Um,
that. And then this one, much less work, you know, without having to have that extra driveway. And then, Frank, can I show his third one?
sure?
Let's see if I can find it. Was putting the parking lot a little bit more centered in the field, which, you know, it has its own discussion, but was making an intersection with the driveway across the street. Those were just the different thoughts that went into it. So this one was making an intersection. This one was working with the break that's in the wall. And then this one was keeping the parking lot as far to the side as possible, so least disruption to the field with as you know, least amount of square footage also.
So
Because the
what
other
do you
thing
need
is,
from this group today? Are you asking us for
Nothing.
our recommendation or what we
Preference.
prefer? Preference?
Yes. Yep. And just so that you know that the break in the wall is not large enough for this access, so we still have to make the
Yeah.
wall opening larger anyways. My thinking was we would just leave there's a couple of small breaks that have been used for tractors to get in and out. We just leave them alone, and then we just create our own opening.
I like this
So
one.
maybe I'll just go down through the list of folks and
Frank?
Penny.
Yeah,
Yep.
I just wanted to address one thing quickly with Robbie, is that I don't know if you are familiar with Border Street, Robbie, but the cars travel very fast
mhm.
in both directions because it's almost like I don't know, a speedway. It's always been very fast traffic in this area. And that would be one reason that they were concerned about how far you could see, you know,
Mhm.
in either directions to come out of the parking lot. Because the cars do fly on that stretch of Border Street. Because there's the field and then there's just the one house on the other side of the road. So people, you know, I just wanted to throw that out, Frank.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what you're not seeing is the engineers gave a little bit of an estimate to construct this plan. I think they figured it was about 106 feet, 100,000 10650. All right. And then if we go to the plan with that maybe you can actually see it. So there's that 10650 is the $106,500 is that plan. The next one with that real curving piece is up to like $165,000, $166,000. And I think the other one was fairly close to the first one. They're about the same. 115 for this one. So the one that's least has the least impact is also the most reasonable cost. And we can still talk about, whether we want to make some additional modifications to it, but that was where we started. So just maybe go down through. So Penny, you've made your concerns about the speed. Brendan, your thoughts?
I like the one that's reasonable.
Okay.
I don't have any other thoughts really. Is this what I'm looking at here?
Not that one. Go back to
it's
the
one
other
with-
one,
oh,
Jim.
yeah, all right.
That one.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah, I think this looks
Okay.
good to me.
Eric?
Yeah, I think option C is not great. It also removes trees in the middle of the field. So for me, I think it's option A, even if it is a slight variation of what A is, to try and make things even slightly improved on sight lines. How that look, I don't know, but some variation of option A is my preference.
Okay. Roger?
A.
Okay. And Robbie?
My preference is A.
Great. So Jen, do we want to convey this to Deb Keller and maybe if any of you looking at this and have any comments or whatever, if you could just shoot Jen an email or something, we can forward that on to the engineer. Or if you want to send it, share it with us first, and we can talk a little bit more. But I'd like to give them some direction so that we can move this at least a little further down the road.
Is Merrill working for the commission? Are they being
So what happened? Yes, they're working for the town. That when this property was being offered, Merrill was an engineer for the property owner or the developer that was proposing to do this project, because the property was in chapter, what was that, 64? So it's a forestry program. The town had right of first refusal. The town took that option and they voted to purchase that at town meeting, but it was a lot of money. There was some private funds raised, and so with some additional money, that money that was raised privately was turned over to the town, and the town has that money to start this process of design. And then after we do that, we have to figure out a way to fund the project. So Merrill is working for the town, but with funding that was raised when the property was purchased. That makes sense?
It does, thank you.
It's not quite right, Frank.
What's that?
Somebody's supposed to be paying for this. That was part of the deal with CPC when this went before CPC to buy the property. The Gulf River said they would pay completely for the parking, but that's to be seen if
Well,
they do it or
we
not.
have to get a design that's approved, and then we have to get some
Yeah,
pricing,
but
and
they
then
said they
then
would pay.
so then we have to go back to them and
Yeah.
see if that's the case. But the other thought, Penny, was maybe if we could incorporate this with, say, a trail that, or this path, if it's an interactive path or something in the future, there was discussion about whether we might be able to apply for some grants. So
Oh, well, you
usually
can
with
do
grants,
grants.
there's
Yeah.
also, combination of matching funds and things like that. So if we need to get a plan that we can have a number for, and then figure out where to go from there.
Yeah. Okay. I just,
Okay. So I think if we're all on board with this plan, let's let them know that, and then we can share that with the select board and folks that are interested, and then figure out how we move forward. Okay.
That sounds good. Can we just ask why the parking isn't perpendicular to
Yes.
the street? Thank you.
Okay.
at one point
Thank
it
you.
was, and I can't remember why they turned it around, but I remember seeing an early plan of it being against the stone wall.
Yeah, I don't know. We moved it away a little bit for some snow storage, but I think there'll be another version of this plan.
Yeah.
This won't this isn't it.
Okay. And maybe Robbie would get with Deb Keller, who I think has been really helpful. Maybe if you want to have some interaction with that, Robbie could be looped in to that, Jen.
Okay.
Would be helpful. All right.
Sure.
Okay.
Sounds good to me.
Great. All right. Another one down. And I just saw that my iPad only has 10% battery, so that's a good thing.
Hmm.
And it's almost 7:30. So Jen also put together sort of maybe even one other quick one. With all the snowfall, there's no real access right now to our access and parking in the west end. I think the Driftway Park gets plowed, but I'm not even sure. I haven't been by there, but I know the town's been really busy trying to clean up roads and all that sort of stuff. But Jen, do you think we could maybe try to shoot a letter or something to DPW and just ask them? I've had a couple of calls from folks wondering when they might be able to get access to like the Damon and Crosby properties and stuff. Maybe we can talk about getting an email over to Kevin, the town administrator, and whatnot, see if they've got us on the radar.
Okay. Yes.
To get back into those properties. All right. If we have one more topic to discuss this evening, do we want to talk about skirting? Would that be
Yes,
helpful?
I think that sounds good.
Yeah.
Jen, what's your preference?
Yeah, we can. I was gonna suggest I think I sent out some information about when you're doing work in a dune resource area. Yeah, there is a requirement for even a new addition to be at least 2 feet above the adjacent grade. But keep in mind, this is not if something's in velocity zone. So as we're discussing things, from a building code perspective, there is a difference whether there's dune and then there's dune and velocity.
Right.
So are you suggesting that in a velocity zone, skirting would be potentially our option for skirting would be different than if it's just an elevated structure that's not in the velocity zone, like we would have two parameters?
Maybe. I mean, right. So for coastal dune and velocity, it's pretty clear there's nothing, like there should be nothing. versus if it's not in the velocity zone, there's maybe a little bit more room for discussion. That's where they get into the no less than 2 feet above adjacent grade. That's not speaking to lattice, that's just speaking to whatever you're doing. Because there's times when the flood zone is kind of equal to, what the grade is. And so then they're trying to make it consistent for how far above the ground you are. So if it's in dune, they want it at least 2 feet above. But this is not velocity zone. So anyways, just to add some more confusion to
No,
it.
I think that, yeah, but that's helpful in talking about this, because that's I think our concern with the skirting, the big concern is what happens when we have storms.
Mhm.
And where does all that material land? And now today, most of it's PVC, so it's not even going to ever break down. Can
And
maybe,
Frank, that's
what if I start and just go through the list of members and get your individual thoughts? Is that maybe a good way to start? Penny?
I don't want skirting anywhere. Thank you.
On any type of project?
On the beach area, I don't think there
Well,
should be
so
any
a
skirting.
velocity zone or a flood, I mean, if it's in a flood zone, but not a velocity zone.
I do not want skirting anywhere on the beaches. That's just me, especially in the velocity. I could deal with the
But not
2
all these
feet, but
not all these projects are just in beaches. A lot of them are in flood zones.
yeah, well, you don't want skirting.
Okay.
I don't.
All right. Brendan?
Um, I'm not a fan of skirting, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Eric?
yeah, I mean, I think that within the velocity zone, um, nothing is allowed below the lowest horizontal structural member, um, which is defined by whatever that velocity zone flood elevation is. Uh, so I think just sticking with that parameter in velocity makes sense. Sticking with what is on the books for dune requirements also makes sense. I think one other thing is if we apply that 2 foot above existing grade for all remaining flood zones, then we'll also be consistent across the board with any of our applications that come through. That will also allow for passage of water and sediment or any other storm related debris to go through, which is really what part of the point of elevating structures is. I think the last thing that I'll comment on is to what you mentioned earlier, is the largest concern for a lot of us, which is the type of material that's being utilized, which is that PVC and plastic AZEK material. I'm wondering if that's something that we can consider adding to language within our orders. If not at some point, I know it's a much more significant pull, but adding to the bylaw that anything that is put below the lowest horizontal structural member must be of some sort of biodegradable material, basically wood, so that if there is damage and there is storm-related impacts and it does remove it from the building, at least we're not putting plastic pollution into the resource areas that we're trying to protect. And I think that's all I have on this right now.
Okay. Roger?
My only comment is, I mean, I get the whole skirting and the reason that this is being done, Eric. I like your idea of like if it's going to go below, make it like something that's not plastic, right? But I guess what I'm looking for here is what are the guidelines? Like, as long as we have guidelines and they are compliant with what we need to be enforcing, and it's the group's consensus, I'm okay with it, right? I just want to be able to go into these sessions and be able to, when we make a recommendation to a applicant, we can say, this is what it is, and here is why. And like, we can explain it very clearly, and we have those guidelines. So I'm happy we're talking about this because it's going to help hopefully make our jobs a little easier. I just want to make sure that we don't, we our our guidelines are clear enough that we don't have leeway. And I guess, we want to just make sure it's X, Y, and Z, and here's why. And whether it's in a velocity or not, or not, flood, this is what it is.
I
And
think
bless you,
that would
Brendan.
help a lot. I think that would help tremendously, that we could be fairly consistent in that. I think that's a really good point. Robbie?
I'm not opposed to the skirting. If the homeowner or the applicant wants to propose it, I think that's fine and we can evaluate it. I think, to Roger's point, we're making progress towards those guidelines, right? We have nothing under the lowest horizontal member in the velocity zone, and then 2-foot minimum above the flood elevation in a non-velocity zone. And I like the idea of the using wood. Like, if you want to do skirting, it has to be, a natural material or something like that. I think that's a good idea.
I like that. Yeah.
It's not my idea.
No, but I mean, it seems to make sense. It's something that we can move forward on, and the 2-foot distance. If we can just say, look, if that's what we're going to do, just to make things a little more complicated, though. So you have you have multiple zones. So we have a V zone, and we say, look, we don't want anything in that V zone because we know that there's times when that water is just going to pour through there and it can rip it apart. So why even go there? And then you have areas where we know that it's basically going to be a flood situation going up and down, and you can have the 2-foot clearance. It kind of, in some ways, it keeps people from doing more under their house. They can have the skirting to have some protection, but they're not going to be trying to enclose it, which we wind up getting into in a bunch of places. So picking a number like 2 feet not only helps with water flow and all that, but it tends to deter other uses. There's also areas like a Limwa area where it does have limited wave action, and are we okay with a 2-foot separation in those areas? What do you think, Jen?
I think those areas are treated like velocity if they're within the
Okay.
Lenoir. As far as I'm going off memory of other things that I've read. If you're with I'm thinking this is the 10th edition. If you're working within the Lenoir, then the expectation is to meet the velocity criteria. That doesn't mean that needs to be what we do, but that's kind of how that area is treated.
Sure. Okay. So what if we draft up some simple
Policy?
start to this that we can get out to everybody, and then everybody can do a little tweaking, and maybe we can pull that together. Does that make sense?
Yes, I can get
Yes.
that out.
Love it.
Okay. All right. I'm Jen took the time to put together a couple of other lists here for some various projects, and we need to get these out to folks so that they know where we are. But the sort of a short list of items. We discussed Border Street tonight. That's a priority. Josh has been pulling some thoughts together on forestry management. We've had our survey done, but the next step is moving forward to see if we want to implement a plan. Maybe what we could, then we have some work that has to get done at the Driftway Park. Lincoln needs a kiosk. We might need some new trail regulations for the kiosks.
I already did the kiosk, Frank.
You have the sign made
Oh.
for it?
Not yet. I'm getting that done this winter. But the kiosk is there.
Okay.
Okay.
I think I meant the sign for it. I'm sorry.
Things like Ellis Access Road and the Higgins Access Road, there's just some maintenance items going on. But I think for me, the ones we can address the Driftway work. Maybe be nice if we could get maybe a member that uses the Driftway Park or gets over to that more to kind of go over it with somebody so that they can follow along with some of the maintenance needs, or we need to find, there was a woman that had expressed some interest, Jen. I don't know if she's still out there or not.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we should try to reach out, but if any particular committee member, commission member has a kind of a hankering for the Driftway Park, it would be good to do that. And the forestry management plan is something we need to hopefully continue to advance forward. Oh, just one other item on the land acquisition at Clapp Road. We're just in the process of getting bids from the two surveyors. So hopefully we can get that wrapped up fairly soon, get the survey work done so we can move towards passing on that property.
Frank, do you want an update about the bogs?
Sure.
Oh, okay, CPC. Mr. Mooney has come to CPC to sell the cranberry bogs on Old Oak and Bucket Road. Right now, we're in the process of negotiating with him. We had it appraised, but he would like quite a bit more than what the appraisal is. CPC cannot go above the appraisal. So we're trying to get a meeting of the minds there between him and what we can do. Also, Jen, myself, Dan Fenley, we met with Corey, and she's looking into grant money to purchase that with at least some of it. So it is moving forward. We desperately want it, but we can only pay so much, so I'll keep you. It won't be this town meeting. There's no way we can have it ready now. But come next fall, hopefully we'll be going forward to purchase it. But we're working on it. It's a work in progress. Thank you.
Penny, do you know if that bog sort of falls under the same classification as the Border Street property? In other words, if the folks wanted to sell it, or they do want to sell it, do they have to give the town the right of first refusal?
You know what? That's a very good question, and I've meant to ask that, and I keep forgetting. So I will find out. That's very interesting, Frank, because then we could meet his price. I will find that out. I'm gonna write myself a note because I keep forgetting that. Thank you.
Well, I don't even know if it means meeting his price, but at least we would be able to, they couldn't sell it before we had the opportunity to buy it, I guess.
No, I understand
So-
that too, but I forgot all about that. Thank you. I will find out that information and pass it on.
Okay. Jen, do you have anything else you want to address this evening?
Maybe mention we were talking about March 2nd, meeting in person. As much as we could.
And do we have the option of having like a hybrid thing if somebody
Yeah.
can't?
Yes,
Do that.
yes, we can do hybrid.
Okay. Anybody have any objection to doing it in person?
Me.
Will that work for most of you? 6 o'clock meeting at town hall?
Sure.
As of right now, yes.
I could be there.
Okay. And again, if something comes up, we could do a hybrid piece. I know Jen Foley has some concerns about being at town hall. But well, let's try to work towards that, Jen.
Yeah, not for everything going forward. We just wanted to, that was the date we wanted to give it a try.
Sure. I like it. Okay. All right. Are we good?
I think so. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll
Did
second that.
anybody else want to add? Did anybody else want to add anything? I know Penny's. Okay. All right.
I mean, I will add just on the forestry management, be happy to have a conversation with Josh and Jen on what that looks like. I coincidentally was speaking about it, not this past weekend, but the weekend before.
Sure.
So there was a topic that came up in casual conversation, strangely enough. So be happy to follow through with that and see where we are and what sort of pathway we have moving forward. So I know that there's some documentation to read that's in the office, and I'd be happy to take a look.
That'd be really great.
Yeah, stop at
Appreciate
any
it.
time. Well, you do anyways.
He's across the hall.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Well, anybody can stop at any time.
Okay.
Excellent.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, Penny.
I made the motion to adjourn. Somebody needs to second.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you.
That was Brendan. All in favor, Eric?
Yes.
Roger?
Yes.
Robbie?
Yes.
And Frank, yes. Sorry for my sort of disjointed effort here tonight, but I think it.
Hey, you saved the
All
day.
right, y'all have a great have a great evening.
Have a good
Have a
night.
good
Good
night.
night.
everyone.
Night.